I didn't know they were public.
He literally is making fun of them. I didn't think the GameStop earnings, I mean, I don't think they matter anymore, right? I haven't made a trade in my account for a while. It's the same portfolio. It's long Sarepta and short quantum stocks. Long Sarepta, Biohaven, Tarsus, ثera Technologies, and I'm short Rigetti, Immune, IonQ, D-Wave, and QCI. It's a pretty simple best ideas portfolio right now. Yeah, listen, I mean, that's why the people that are long quantum are just getting a nice good gamble. Gambling is fun until you are done with your gambling trip and you realize the casino has all your money. Yeah, I'm out of PayPal. Yeah, I didn't think they grew revenue, Brianna. The GameStop operating business isn't that important anymore. I think the big thing on that stock is whether or not RC buys a business. Buying Bitcoin is kind of actually bearish because everybody's doing that. It's kind of cringe. Yeah, everybody who's going to ask me if I saw Jensen's comments for the next... The funny thing is, people jump on the stream, which is great. I appreciate you. I want you to come to my stream every day. But they ask me the same... They come to ask the same question. So I need one of you guys to answer it. Yes, I saw the Jensen thing. There's a lot to short, Greg. It's not that hard to short. It's hard sometimes for hedge funds because they don't source the shorting from the same places. I'm not sure you want to be like MicroStrategy. I'll trust what Jensen said originally. I don't think he's had a change of heart in quantum. I think he's just wants to capitalize on it, on the spending. He's a smart dude. Once he starts doing actual quantum computing, I have a small short position. I think there's a few things to think about for quantum. I mean, the first are there mathematical reasons to care about this industry? Like, is there a core reason other than it's cool? Yeah, DeepSeek is definitely scary for NVIDIA. It doesn't seem to matter right now. I don't have a 5090. I'm Intel 4090. Interesting, Mercurial. Yeah, NVIDIA does these partnerships all the time. They'll do whatever. They're very fast and loose, you know, and that's fine. You know, I mean, Jensen knows what he's doing. If they start, I would get worried, I would say, if they start taking up patents and stuff like that in quantum computing. I would say that'd be a little bit concerning. But until he actually does it, he's just encouraging, I don't know, he's encouraging them, which is great. He's a gracious winner, right? Like, yeah, and you know, I mean, the thing about momentum is that the rubber has to hit the road where, like, at some point, all the momentum in the world doesn't really help because you just get a blow off top. Like, you actually need substance to get real money to buy. Like, sometimes that momentum will often collapse on itself because at some point, you know, all the excitement in the world doesn't help you. You actually do need to complete and have some earnings growth, have some revenue growth. I'm happy you're up on Akiro. I do think they'll get taken over, but we'll see. So I don't know. You need an actual event. You need some actual revenue and earnings. I know it's kind of a weird analogy, but I do think it's not that different. I'm never going to look at charts ever. You can do that if you want. Yeah, Karen might get on the phone I think the rally will fade, but Karen might come calling. Andreas, I mean, if you could just buy companies to grow, you would do it nonstop and infinitely, right? You have to buy good businesses at great prices or great businesses at good prices. You can't buy bad businesses at terrible prices. That's how you go bankrupt fast. Look at Valeant. Hayden, I don't know the enzyme market. I know there is a market. I do think that there are people that work on this. Novozymes is a good example and others. So it's not such a bad thing. Yeah, meme coins are back. Far coins at $1.38. Wild and unfortunate liquidity bubble. It'll burst, but will we burst first? That is the question. What do I think ackman missed with Valeant? I think that it wasn't ackman. I think it was just, well, maybe it was a little bit ackman. I would say that, like, the roll-up business is great if you can do it really, really, really well. The problem with acquiring for a living is you have to have extreme discipline. And this is why even the PE funds, they're not evergreen funds, because some funds will be bad. Some funds will perform less than ideally. So, like, they know that they're in a business that can be quite risky. You know, you make one really bad deal, a PE fund could get torched. Next fund or the fund after would be better, you know? So, I don't know. I feel like you really need to if you're going to do roll-ups, you have to make sure that you don't do any bad deals. That's really hard to do if you do 300, 400 deals. Yeah, I don't follow Carvana like everybody else. I mean, I don't get it to some extent, but I do see that they have quite a lot of growth. So it's not like they Yeah, I think that in tech, yeah, acquisitions are usually terrible. But if you're doing a roll up in an industry that you can roll up, pharma is an industry you can roll up, but you just have to be like exquisitely careful. Like, you know, any mistake can end you. And that's what happened with Valeant. So I think ackman just didn't realize the risk of giving the car keys to somebody that might, you know, make a really big leveraged bet and be wrong. And that's sort of all it took. Jensen's maybe the best CEO of all time, definitely one of the best of all time, possibly the best of all time. So also one of the best technologists of all time, if not the best. So I wouldn't get too, you know, I think he has a role in computing as an elder statesman that he has to be pretty careful about. You know, if he plays his cards wrong, you know, it's just not such a great look. Yeah, I've looked at Carvana 100 times. I don't see what those guys see because I'm not a financials guy. Like I've never done mortgages or loans, or I'm a product investor. I just don't have the perspective that they have. You know, I spent my life looking at drug stocks. I like really technical investments, so you get your hands dirty and really try to understand like what it is you're looking at. Yeah, is the new Lil Wayne album not great? I guess I can't be that surprised. I don't know. I don't want to be mad. I don't want to get Wayne mad. Maybe time for him to retire. I don't know. A lot of the older rap guys kind of need to retire. I'm sure dswave the most. I've started shorting a lot more 𝗬𝗎𝗘. It's pretty balanced. Yeah, I think he just got some PR advice, and he, you know, being a bully isn't a good look. I literally have to put this on the bottom of my screen because you guys just keep asking the same question. Rigetti is traded second most, up there with industry leaders Tesla and NVIDIA. It's up 9%. Tesla's up 3%. NVIDIA's up 1%. Plug Power up 4%. It's a dollar stock though, so it doesn't count. dswave and QCI. So the top 6, 7, 8, 9 stocks, four of them are quantum computing stocks. You know, the nice thing about timing is it's retrospective. It's hard to be prospective with timing. Regeneron's a big company, so I think there's a little bit of skepticism around the data they generated. Well, Carvana's revenue grows a lot. Keep that in mind. We're taking some pain, boys. We're taking some pain, but it's all right. Just sit back. Apple is probably overvalued, quite frankly. Yeah, INMB is the big biotech short coming up. Yeah, we started a $30,000 account just because people wanted an account that kind of, I mean, I gave people an option of $1 million account or a $5,000 account. People wanted to see how would you try to take a small account and make a lot of money. So far, we're going in reverse, but this is how I would do it. I added $20K to the account to shore up the margin parts of it, but that's only because Schwab has like this very tough margin. It's extremely, which is maybe a good thing. Maybe it saved me some losses. Michael, I've been shorting the biggest bubble that we've seen in years. Oh, with Schwab, you actually get inverse margin, right? You get inverse leverage. So it's brutal. It's like a 300% or 200% margin requirement. So you got inverse leverage on this account. Kramer is my old boss. He's brilliant. He's accomplished more than you'll ever accomplish in your life. He knows more about investing than virtually maybe 100, 200 people in the world. QUBT. 36,000 in revenue, baby. Laundromat. No, man, that's an insult to Mrs. Kim. Miss Kim doing way more business than that. I'm not putting that on her name. Miss Kim Laundromat's doing at least a couple mil. 36K. Who's doing 36K a quarter? Okay, yeah, vending machine. It's a vending machine company. There you go. 36K. Miss Kim crushing it. You know how she folds the shirts. You already know. You get your shirts back. You got starch. You look Miss Kim and you can trust her. QUBT, 36,000 in revs. I don't even know if that's real money, bro. Where'd that come from? They're not selling a product. How can I learn what a good investment research process is? There's actually a really good, when screening for investments, what's the process? I don't really screen. There's a class that John Griffin taught, okay, at UVA on investing. If you play your cards right, you know, you might be able to get some presentations, syllabi, lecture notes from that. Griffin is kind of like one of the father tiger cubs. A lot of the other cubs kind of used his methodology. He has a really good checklist for things you should look at when you're making an investment. John Griffin. He was the Griffin before Ken Griffin. Oh, you took that class, Pascal? You were in the same room as John Griffin? There's not too many billionaire professors. 𝗏𝗏 is not legendary investor is the problem. Yeah. The Google stuff is all wrong. Just some haters hating. Yeah, I'm not that worried about Google losing too much market share. Search isn't going anywhere. They'll slowly lose share, and I think that's still a pretty big deal. They have YouTube. VCs were poor for a long time, and Jensen changed the game. Thiel changed the game. The DC was not that lucrative. They tried this yesterday with 𝗬𝗎𝗘 and it went down and all the way back down. Rigetti closing the offering and kind of probably like re-upping. I don't know. It looks like D-Wave, they're using the ATM to tapping it right away. Hit the button. Yeah, so Big Pharma is 17 times this year's earnings, 15 next, 14 after that. Not bad. I've seen worse. These small banks are not scammers. They have to do their banking business. You got to respect the fact that, that's part of what they do. Yeah, Valeant also was a serial acquirer, but, pretty different. Pharma's like very modular. You can bolt stuff on. Tech's a little different. You have to actually integrate these acquisitions. I wouldn't do acquisition after acquisition. I think he's more simplest answer there is that he's just wants to convert his overvalued stock price into something real. So he actually gets something, a real company. But I think he probably also believes. Yeah, it's kind of like the height of lunacy to talk about you being you're going to have Cisco's market cap. That's kind of wild. I don't know how he says that with a straight face. I mean, it's important to think big. No, I don't think Jensen's really done a 180. I think he's just trying to be a good steward and statesman. If he started actually doing quantum himself, that would be a 180. He's just trying to be nice. Yeah, he sold all his stock. So why? Well, how is it I don't know. I think IonQ is a real scam. I wouldn't use the word pumping. I mean, I think he's being nice, I mean, you saw his thoughts first before any of this became controversial. You saw his real thoughts. He just said what he really believed. Then he had to do some damage control. The thing about investing is it's a little like, it's an art and a science, but when you do the scientific parts, you should be as exact as you can. There's some parts of it that you can't be exact on. That's the artistic part. So the best way, let me show you probably the best way you can see if there's real interest in quantum is go to just a patent search. Google patents is kind of not great. So the USPTO is kind of the best place to go. And just type in NVIDIA in this case and type in a signee name. If you want to use the advanced search, it's quite good if you learn how to use the codes, but it's like learning a programming language. Okay, so here's all of NVIDIA's patents. And shall we go to our model? And if you saw something like NVIDIA qubit array or something like that, that'd be a sign NVIDIA was interested in quantum. But, NVIDIA has splashed a lot of money at a lot of stuff. Like they're taking their largest company in the world position and, they're monetizing it. Here's the patent, 123207071, 123284556, 8851. Let's start putting a couple down. Intelligent refrigerant assisted liquid to air heat exchange for data center cooling systems. Remember, NVIDIA is the largest computing company in the world. The fact they haven't really taken any steps towards quantum is I think, pretty telling. NVIDIA is never going to buy D-Wave. NVIDIA is smart, man. They don't just do acquisitions for anything. I thought it was also really scammy when the IonQ guy was like, LightSync is like Mellanox. Like, come on, bro. When your machine can add two large numbers, let me know. I'll be interested. I'll be your first client. Dynamic assignment of data stream processing in multi-codex systems. Internal solver for articulations and simulation applications. So just go through these patents and see what you see. And you can do the same thing by doing something like this. And we should probably do this a little more regularly, but let's go to US patent search. Let's type in qubit. That's like a really good, I think that's like a really solid search. I don't think quantum's gone 50x quite yet, but so type in qubit and see what's up. So let's open like an IonQ model. Well, I do have conviction in my idea. I don't think Jensen is bullish on quantum. Okay, so let me make a new section called IP, and we're gonna look at some quantum patents and see, let's try it maybe this way. Yeah, QUBT is 30K in revenue, so. Okay, first patent up. This is from, barely read it, SUNY. Not 100% too interesting, but maybe we'll look at it some other time. Let's look at the next one. Mechanically tolerant couplers. Ooh, that sounds good. Maybe IBM. Good guess. IBM is talking a lot about needing to do these couplers to get scale. We'll read this some point as well. IBM put forth what they said is the only credible roadmap to quantum computing. So there's a lot of insulting each other in this industry. Here's another IBM patent. Sometimes you get lucky on timing. Sometimes you don't. I got very lucky on my cassava timing. Pretty bad luck on this timing. But timing's, I think, distributed pretty normally. Nano ribbon-based quantum dot devices. Not exactly quantum computing. Let's take a look. Quantum dot devices, related methods, semiconductor nanoribbons, antifungal patent. This is more my lane. And here's a superconducting patent. We're not going to do the antifungal. Alibaba's doing quantum? Oh yeah, I knew that. Alibaba's doing superconducting. Okay, so generally these patents come out once a week, and it looks like there weren't too many quantum patents, quite frankly, for the week of 6/10. In fact, IBM had 3 out of the 7 patents that week. It was just 1 week, but kind of funny. Let's go to the next week. These are patent applications. We should do these too, but right now I want to look at issued patents. Here's the next batch of issued patents. They were on 6/3. Reducing unitary error. That's a really big deal. Let's see who got this patent, if it's real. Reducing unitary error in a quantum computation system. Let's see if they have any data in here. This is the block sphere. Yeah, I think just say, like, you just have to understand, like, there's a method to the madness and over-interpreting it. If you want to interpret the interpretations, if you want to interpret the wrong interpretations of people looking at data, I don't know. I'm not going to play that game. You can, but yeah, pension funds don't actively say, ooh, I like this stock. They buy indices, they do stuff like that. It's not really like a guy there sitting there being like, oh, I studied this stock really well, I really want to buy it. I don't see any reduction in rates specifically here. Maybe this is like just an extension of their tiling approach, so it could be a part of a family of patents, but we will read this at some point. But you guys know what unitaries are? Any big Tilray bulls? It's coming back! The word unitary is actually somewhat vague. The word unitary can mean a lot of things. Yeah, all quantum gates are unitaries, including Hadamard and rotations, and not just but well, all gates, period. They all have to be unitary. I don't think you can really do much to hedge on IBM or something like that. I think if you can get long quantinium, maybe that's a hedge. Time evolution is unitary. The evolution of a closed quantum system is governed by a unitary operator. It conserves probability. That's the key thing. And you can reverse it too. So here's the classic gates. There's more unitary gates in quantum than there are in general computing. Yeah, quantum sounds cool, right? You're at Citadel, you're at Millennium. Everybody has the same. Every smart investor I know who has a good track record is either short quantum or says, that sounds like a great short, I'm not involved in it. I don't know a single smart investor that says this is a great long. But the problem is crowding effects. The crowding effects are very damaging. Same thing happened in 2000. Yeah, CoreWeave bubble may be popping. It's not bullish for momentum. A couple of these other stocks look not so hot. Palantir's a good tell though. Palantir's up a lot. Farcoin's $1.40. What? None of you guys count. That's the thing. This is about Wall Street. This isn't about you and your PA. I know you crush the fund managers. That's why you're a super billionaire. Everybody's trying to give money to you, Anon. You're the man. Yeah, this guy's richer than Buffett. My friends have talked to him privately. He's not jealous, but he knows. I love it expired. I love it. I don't need that. I like it like this. I like the pain. Give me more. D-Wave is down. Give me more. Don't let Jensen's politeness publicly trick you. Pay attention to what he does, not what he says. What do you think he's doing all these GTC shows nonstop? The guy's a traveling salesman. Literally. No pun intended. Which is his job, you know, his job is to do that. Yeah, I don't know. I think if you, the best thing you do is listen to Jensen's, the GTC 2-hour session he did on quantum. I don't think he changed his mind since then.
Years to achieve.
Gene, this is his long form comments on the subject, right? We all heard what he said, you know, in one line at both GTCs, the main GTC and GTC Paris. But this is what he really thinks. And what he really, this is what he wants us to think, that this is what he's increasingly tried to be softer about it because he doesn't want to be a jerk. He's not bullish. If he was bullish, he'd buy out these companies.
Was something that one, I would expect.
He's a diplomat. The guy's more powerful in some ways than the president of the United States. He's literally being sarcastic. Look what he says, grand impact.
One, I would expect. Two, because of the complexity of it and the grand impact it would have, something that we should expect. And so when I said the answer, next day I discovered that several company stock, apparently the whole industry stock, went down 60%. And then I'm starting to learn about this, and my first reaction was, I didn't know they were public.
He literally is making fun of them. Public. WT, yeah, I mean, I'm fully aware. Jensen literally doesn't care about quantum at all. Scott is a great dude to talk to about quantum. So is Presskill. So is Monroe, right? Monroe just gave a podcast. You think Monroe's a liar? He started the company. He kind of started quantum computing. He started ion traps at least, but he did the first ever logical gate. I mean, he was pretty clear on his podcast. Okay, so this is the light sync. This is light sync. Listen to what he thinks.
Experiencing sort of a stochastic power. It's not the laser's fault. It's just that the system's big, and we haven't yet shrunk it down by using some of your meta optics or something. Seriously, integrating optics on an ion trap chip. We haven't even started there yet.
Anybody know who this guy is? Maybe one of the most important people in quantum computing, if not the most. MIT is honestly could be a serious competitor to these quantum companies. Okay, looks like that's it for that week's patents. So 2 weeks of patents in quantum world, pretty small industry, 17 patents. In pharma, there's a lot of patents that are given out every week. We bet against Google, baby. Okay, Leon Ding. Dr. Ding. IonQ will buy them too. Somebody had my idea. There it is, $9 million seed. Man, take another mil from Shkreli. These guys are going to take over. There isn't a salesperson in this room right here. I'm thinking that's Dr. Ding. This guy looks like me. That's the best stock. This guy barely has. Does he have socks? This guy doesn't even have socks. Bruh, how do I buy bruh? Oh, and they got one of these. They got one of these too. Don't sleep on that. They got one of these chandelier-looking devices as well. Let's take a picture in front of it. Good idea, Steve. I might chuck a mill or two in this. Actually, technically, Monroe's wrong. Fluxonium is higher fidelity than Quantinium. And then third place is IonQ's new acquisition, Oxford Ionics. So the MIT patent kind of reminded me of Atlantic.